In our last lesson, we learned the 24 letters of the Greek alphabet. We learned about diphthongs and vowels and so on and so forth, right? So today we are going a little deeper and we are going into the sound system of Koine Greek. So we will examine the 7 vowels, the major diphthong combinations, right? And the breathing marks that appear on every word beginning with a vowel. So these details, you could say, may seem small, but they directly affect pronunciation. And by pronunciation, you know, I'm dealing with Erasmian pronunciation here for the most part. But they also not only affect pronunciation, but they affect meaning and even parsing, right? And we soon come to parsing. So the 7 Greek vowels, we have looked at that before. We're just repeating. This is just a slide to repeat. So you have the alpha, you have the epsilon, you have the eta, you have the iota, you have the omicron, you have the upsilon, and you have the omega. Now, 2 of these vowels are short. The epsilon and the iota are short, and 2 are always long. The eta and the omega are always long, and 3 can either be short or long. The alpha, the iota, and the upsilon can either be short or long, right? Now, the short-long distinction matters for accentuation rules and meter. A long vowel counts as 2 morae, I could say 2 time units, right? Affecting where the accent can legally fall on a word. So when you're looking at Erasmian pronunciation, so A equal A, like A, the alpha, while the epsilon equals short A, right? And the eta, as I said, is AY, the iota, E. You can see the 2 E there. Omicron, short O, French U, or upsilon equals like the French U, right? Or U in English. And the omega is the long O. Not the short O, but the long O. So those are the 7 vowels. And we also looked at diphthongs, these vowel sounds that combine to make a single sound. So you have the AI, and that makes aisle, the EI, 8, OI, like the OI in oil, the AU. I don't like the CO, but I rather like AU. But just like how I had in the previous slide, I changed it. But this one is fine. So AU as in cow, ow. I guess what the books go for is this ow, you know. But anyhow, EU as in feud, OU as in soup, you know. I changed that one to soup. So those are the diphthongs. So less common diphthongs would be like UI, as in the UI in sweet, and the eta upsilon, U, like lengthened. Or this is say lengthen U. I don't know if I will even say it like that, but anyhow, anyway. So the second vowel is a diphthong. The second vowel in a diphthong is always iota or upsilon, right? So if a diphthong has a diaeresis, that is 2 dots. So right here, these 2 dots here, so notice you have the word AI right here, but you have 2 dots there over the I. So if a diphthong has a diaeresis over the second vowel, the vowels are pronounced separately as 2 syllables, not as a diphthong. So in that case, AI is not I anymore, right? And guess what? Here is something to read. John 3:16. utos gar egapesen hotheos ton cosmon. All right? And that's dealing with for God so loved the world. All right? We talked a little bit about the improper diphthongs and iota subscript. Not sure I want to spend time on that slide again. But let's go to the breathing marks now. All right, you have the rough and the smooth breathing marks. Every Greek word that starts with a vowel must have a breathing mark. There are exactly two types. I refer to them as Jacob and Esau because these were the two brothers. One had a rough, I don't want to say rough, but one had, I don't know, say rough, hairy. He was hairy, so you could say he had rough skin, and one was smooth. So anyway, I refer to them as Jacob and Esau. So the smooth breathing mark looks like a small curved line opening to the right, right? And whenever you're dealing with the smooth breathing mark, there is no added sound. There is no added sound. So look at this right here. The smooth breathing mark on the alpha there. There is no added sound. No sound is added. So you simply pronounce the vowel as is. The rough breathing mark curves the other direction, right? And it adds an H. So when you look at the rough breathing mark, it actually looks like an open quotation. And then smooth breathing mark will be like a closed quotation. So say you have the, I want to write the letter a little better. Say you have the letter A. So this would be your alpha, right? This one over here would be your rough breathing mark. This one over here would be your smooth breathing mark. A little tricky, right? Trying to write with a mouse, but on the tablet it's a little better. So whenever the rough breathing mark is on a word, you're gonna pronounce it like an H begins the word. So for instance, if you have upsilon, P, omicron, and there's a rough breathing mark on the upsilon, you're gonna say hupo. Hupo. You're going to pronounce it with an H, right? So the letter rho at the beginning of a word always takes a rough breathing mark. So we have rhema, rhema, right? Double rho in the middle of a word is written like this, right? In some editions. So the word of Christ, so the word rhema, Colossians 3:16. Rhema, rhema. Remember, whenever the rho begins a word, you always want to pronounce it with the rough breathing mark. So what have we learned in this slide? Well, we have learned about rough and smooth breathing mark. Whenever you see this kind of open quotation kind of a thing, thingy over a letter, more likely if it's the beginning of a word, what you're dealing with. If it's a diphthong, sometimes it can come on the second vowel. But generally, you're going to add an H in your pronunciation. If there is a close quotation, so to speak, then what you do, you just pronounce the vowel as is. Now, we want to talk a little bit about accent marks. Greek words carry accent marks that tell you which syllable to stress. Okay? So there are three types. The acute accent goes up, so you can think of a rising pitch. The grave accent goes down, and the circumflex rises and then falls. For now, I do not want you to memorize all the accent rules. Those come later. Instead, simply learn each vocabulary word with its accent as an integral part of the word. Right? So think of the accent the way you think of a letter. It belongs there, and the word is not correctly written without it. So we're not dropping off our accents, right? It is important to know that accent can change meaning as well. So we're gonna look at that. So for instance, you have the word epsilon iota here with a smooth breathing mark, and it means if, right? But if you have epsilon iota here with the circumflex, with this little thing on top of it, there, the circumflex. Maybe I'm not writing it correctly, but this particular epsilon iota, this one I'm talking, with the circumflex on it, it actually means to be. It's a form of me, which means to be. So depending on the accent mark, yes, it can affect meaning a lot. Right? Reflect and practice. So you want to start by listing all 7 Greek vowels and classify each as short, always long, or variable in length. And you want to take time to do this, okay, guys? Please take time to do this. Grab your notebook. Try to write out your vowels from memory. Then you want to write out the 6 major diphthongs with your English sound equivalents. Then identify each diphthong in this phrase. So, for instance, if I give you this phrase, uranoi, kai, gaia. Can you pick out all the diphthongs in this phrase? I could start by giving you a clue. Here is a diphthong, iota alpha. No, that's not a diphthong. But here is a diphthong, alpha iota. There you go, right? So you could pick out the diphthongs in that phrase. Uranoi kai gaia. Or gaia. So practice adding breathing marks. Which type does each of these words take? En, ho, apo, hupo, rema. And when you look at it, you can tell which one is smooth. You can just write S. And which one is rough. You can just write R. Okay, just look at if it opens, if it's an open quotation mark, then that's a rough breathing mark. If it's a closed quotation mark, then that's a smooth breathing. Okay, guys? So in conclusion, the vowel system, diphthongs, and breathing marks form the phonological backbone of Koine Greek. So mastering these details now will make every subsequent lesson easier. And in Greek, pardon my writing, but there is something called stacking. Okay? Stacking. And what you're doing, you are essentially building brick by brick, block by block. Okay? So as you go, you are stacking up. That's why it's important to just learn certain concepts from the get-go. Because when you learn certain concepts from the get-go, it makes the other concepts a lot easier. All right? Lord be with you, and see you in the next lesson.